There is a moment you have felt it where fear grips you so completely that you cannot move, you can't speak, you can't think clearly. Your chest tightens, your mind races, and every voice inside you says, don't stop, turn back. And the most people, they listen to that voice. But what if I told you that fear has a weakness, not trick, not hack, not motivational quote? You forget by tomorrow one question, a question to so precisely, so ancient and so powerful that the moment you ask, its fear begins to dissolve. Today, inspired by the greatest philosophical mind in human history, we are going to find that question together. Stay with me, please. Section 1. What fear actually is. Before we get to that question, we need to understand what we are actually fighting. Most people think fear is about danger, but philosophers have long argued something more uncomfortable, that most of our fears is not about what will happen, but about what we imagine might happen. Inspired by Stoics thought, particularly the reflection attributed to the school of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. We find these recurring ideas that the mind suffers more in imagination than in reality. I want you to put that again. The mind suffers more in imagination than in reality. Think about the last time you were afraid. A difficult conversation you had to have. A risk you wanted to take. A moment you almost didn't show up. In most cases, the anticipation was worse than the event itself. Why? Because your mind is a storyteller. And when it doesn't have fact, it writes fiction. And that fiction is almost always darker than the truth. Now, this is where our question begins to take shape. Because if fear lives in the imagination, then the right question can drag it into the light. Section 2. The existential layer. Now let's go deeper. Inspired by the work of the existentialist traditional thinkers like Søren Kierkegaard, who spent his life explaining what he called the anxiety of freedom, we encounter a profound idea. Fear isn't just about bad outcome. At its deepest level, fear is about meaning. We are afraid because things matters to us. You are afraid of failing because success matters to you. You are afraid of rejection because connection matters to you. You are afraid of unknown because life matters to you. Kierkegaard inspired thought suggests that anxiety, what we call fear, is actually the dizziness of freedom. It is what we feel when we stand at the edge of choice that could define who we are. So fear is not your enemy, it is your compass. It points directly at what is most alive in you. the things you fear losing, failing, or never becoming. Those things reveal your deepest values. This is important because the question we are building is not designed to make you feel fearless. It's designed to make you free. Section 3. Viktor Frankl and the power of meaning. One of the most extraordinary human beings of the 20th century was Viktor Frankl, a psychiatric and Holocaust survivor whose experience in the darkest condition imagination led him to a physical philosophy that changed model physiology forever. Inspired by Frank life and written, we encounter these striking ideas that when a person has why, the reason to exist, they can endure almost anyhow. Frank observed that even in the most terrifying circumstance, fear was not imagined but brutally real. The people who survived physiologically were those who found meaning in their suffering, not people who had no fear, not people who were immune to pain, people who had a question they were living to answer. And that shifts everything. Because what Frank teaches us, what his entire philosophy is inspired by, is that the antidote to fear is not courage alone. It is direction. It is purpose. It is reason that is larger than the thing you are afraid of. Now we are ready for the question. Here is the question that breaks fear. Draw from thousands of years of philosophical thought, human suffering, and hard-won wisdom. If I knew this moment will pass, what would I do anyway? Let me say this again. If I knew this moment would pass, what would I do anyway? The question does four things simultaneously. First, it reminds you that fear is temporary. Every fear you have ever felt has eventually ended. This one will too. Second, it separates the feeling from the decision. Fear is not feeling. The question creates space between them. Third, they will connect you to your deeper values because the word anyway forces you to ask what matters beyond the fear. And fourth, it transforms you from a victim of your emotion into the author of your own response. This is not a philosophical trick. This is how human beings have survived, created, love, and led since the beginning of history. Section 4. How to use it in real life. Let's make this practical. You are about to have a hard conversation. Fear shows up. You ask, If I knew this moment would pass, what would I do anyway? And the answer is, I will tell the truth. So you tell the truth. You are about to launch something, a business, a channel, a dream. Fear shows up and says, what if you fail? You ask the question. The answer, I will launch it anyway. So you launch it. You are standing at the edge of a relationship, afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to be seen. You ask the question, and the answer comes quietly. I will love them anyway. Inspired by Toys practice, what Marcus Aurelius described in his private journals as the discipline of returning to the present action. This question is a tool you can carry with you every single day. It doesn't it does not remove the fear. It removes fear's authority over you. There's a different there's a difference. Courage is not the absence of fear. Inspired by every philosopher we have explored today, Toys existentialist, humanist, psychologist, they all agree courage is the decision to act while fear is still present. And this question gives you that decision back. Section 5. The deeper truth. Here is what I want to leave with you. Fear will never fully disappear, and it shouldn't, as long as you are alive. Truly alive, you will be afraid of something because you will love something. You will want something. You will be wishing for something that is not yet guaranteed. That vision, that longing, that is what makes you human. The philosopher didn't teach us to kill fear. They taught us to use it, to see it as a signal, not stop sign, inspired by the ancient wisdom that has traveled through centuries to reach you today. Through the toys of Rome, the essentialist of Compare and Vienna, the survival of humanity darkest chapter. This message is the same. You are not built to be comfortable. You were built to be alive. And being alive means standing at the edge of the unknown, feeling the fear, asking the question, if I knew this would pass, if I knew this would pass, what would I do anyway? And then doing it. So, I want to ask you something before closing this video. What is the one thing you have been afraid to do? Not for years, just right today. A conversation, a choice, a beginning. Ask yourself the question, sit with answers. And if you feel it's moving something in you, leave in the comment, because this community is built for exactly what this community is built for exactly that. For people who are willing to face something real. If this video gives you even one moment of clarity, share with someone who needs it. You never know who fear you might help break. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Okay.